The Pathless, a game centered around exploration and puzzle solving, is an overlooked hidden gem that literally and figuratively soars. Developed by giant Squid, The Pathless was released on November 16th, 2021, with recent reviews leaving this game with a 93% rating on Steam. The Pathless took me just over 12 hours to complete while only finishing 37 of the 43 achievements. Currently, the normal price tag is a steep $40 US, but you can get this game on sale for as low as 10. In this game, you are a nameless character, referred to as Hunter, who washes ashore on an island full of death. All the inhabitants have died due to the actions of a mysterious antagonist simply known as the God Slayer, whose goal is to corrupt 4 godlike creatures known as the Tall Ones. Your task is to clear the corruption of these 4 Tall Ones and then face off against the God Slayer. Upon waking up on the shores of the island, you cross paths with an eagle who becomes your partner in helping solve puzzles and fighting bosses. The gameplay, story, art, and soundtrack take influences from both the Legend of Zelda series and Shadow of the Colossus to a degree. The meat and potatoes of this game is all about exploring the island and completing various puzzles. The puzzle mechanics are simple and perhaps even repetitive, yet never become boring or dull. Most of the puzzles revolve around shooting arrows through circular targets, moving said targets, lighting torches, and moving weights around to activate pressure plates. As for exploration, there are 4 plateaus for the player to run around and glide through besides the starting tutorial area. Each plateau has a boss, which is one of the 4 corrupted Tall Ones. You discover the story by exploring and finding spirits of the dead inhabitants of the island and by reading stone tablets scattered across the land, usually in various destroyed ruins. The combat, though, is few and far between, which, as strange as it might sound, is for the best because it really highlights the beautiful cinematography and the sheer weight and gravity of the encounters. Not only that, but the combat is non-traditional as well. There are no health bars, and you cannot die or get a game over. The worst thing that happens is that you get hit by one of the boss's attacks and your character is sent back a few steps within the phase, requiring you to repeat the last 30 seconds of gameplay. The combat is focused around dodging the boss's attacks while also waiting for your time to strike by using your bow when a diamond-shaped locked-on target appears on the boss. The only time you see any combat is during the boss fights. There are a total of 5, the 4 Tall Ones and the final boss, the God Slayer. Each boss fight has multiple phases, so while the quantity of the fights might be low, the quality does all of the heavy lifting. Not once was I left disappointed after a boss fight either, as the art direction and the cinematography the developers went with are both beautifully stunning as well as intimidating. One of the bosses you face off against has a phase where you are trapped inside a building while the boss blows fire down the hallways trying to hit you. Your job is to move behind cover, whether it be a pillar or a pile of rubble, so that you can dodge the boss's attacks and then escape the building. Even that phase of the fight has multiple phases, as it is not just one hallway I had to escape, but multiple. I was required to make my way down this hallway, to another hallway, to another hallway. The art direction in this game is fantastic as well. The bosses are intimidating to face off against, as they are creatures multiple times your size, and they are completely black except for the accents of colors resembling fire. Everything down to the buildings and even the armor of the slain warriors was carefully crafted and not just strewn together with caution thrown to the wind. As for the color palettes, everything is either deep blues, lush greens, or cozy tans and browns. All of that is thrown out of the window once you face off against a boss, however. The color palette quickly changes from these colors full of life and comfort to stressful blacks, reds, oranges, and yellows. As for the soundtrack, prepare to be comforted by stringed instruments, woodwinds, and percussion throughout your entire journey. These instruments are beautifully blended to not only give off soothing feelings of calmness that one might find in the wilderness, but also to induce stress and tension when facing off against a boss. While violins, clarinets, and various drums are nothing new, they are a staple in a setting like this that leaves you feeling both serene and a bit anxious at times. Unfortunately, there is not much replayability for this game unless you are a completionist. While there is a lot to discover in this game, there is no New Game Plus or anything along those lines. Even if you completed the game and you wanted to go back and 100% it, as long as you do not choose to start a new game, you can load up your previous save, which should be just before the final boss encounter, and fly back down to the island and knock out whatever remaining achievements you might have. The normal price tag of this game is $39.99 US dollars. While I cannot recommend picking this game up at that price tag, I will say that I picked this game up during summer Steam sale for only $10, which is completely reasonable. With all of that said, this game is not for everyone. If you play games like Call of Duty or racing games, or if you're a sucker for horror and jump scares where you're required to be on your toes at every moment, then you might not like this game. There's a lot of exploration and there's a lot of puzzle solving. While the puzzles are not too challenging, it still might take a couple minutes to figure them out. If you're on one side of a plateau and the place you need to get to is on the other side, you will be spending a few minutes gliding and running to that area. Even the combat isn't high stakes, but rather focused more on the story than challenging mechanics. If you don't like those types of games, this game might not be for you. If you made it this far and you're saying to yourself, I like exploration, I like puzzles, I like story, well, then this game is for you, and I recommend at the very least checking it out, maybe wishlisting it, and even picking it up the next time it is on sale. Overall, I will give this game 7.5 sausages out of 10. The art is incredible, and while not completely stunning and breathtaking at every turn, not once did I come across an area that was boring, flat, or dull. The music is serene and calming throughout most of your journey, while easily transitioning to stressful and tense at exactly the right moments. The gameplay is fun and simple, with enjoyable puzzles, though this game could be a little too simple for some people's taste. While the story isn't too deep, it still had me pumping my fist and trash talking the final boss, because by the end I did become invested in defeating the God Slayer and saving the island. Unfortunately, where all of that excels, the price of the game really dampens the score. For a game that I got 12 hours of enjoyment out of, I cannot justify a $40 US price tag. $10 is completely reasonable, and even $20 is a fair price, but $40 I just cannot in good faith recommend. So consider waiting until it is on sale before picking this up. And that's my review of the Pathless. If you got this far and you were on the fence about this game, I hope my review helped you decide on whether to pick this game up or not. If you did get this far, consider liking and subscribing, but if not, just know I appreciate having you here and enjoying my video anyway. I also stream on Twitch, so consider heading over there and following me on that platform as well. Anyway, I think I'm going to cut my review here. Mahoney out.